この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I'm here for Frieren, episode 12. And maybe more than that, who knows. I don't know what we're gonna do. Last time on Frieren, we met Stark. And I'm gonna stop that now. We met Stark, a monk played by Takahito Koyasu, who it turns out I had heard just this past week because he's a whole bunch of people. He's Toji Fushiguro, and he's Roswell, and he's a whole bunch of characters. He's so many people. And I should know Dio on sight, it should be immediate. Especially when he says Tengoku like 12 times. Should have recognized it. Didn't recognize it. Honestly, not too bothered about it. I love finding out that Takahito Koyasu is in more things, and I really enjoy listening to his voice. I also really enjoyed meeting this character, Stark, and, well, finding out some interesting things about elves, finding out some interesting things about Stark, finding out some interesting things about Frieren, and talking over our attitude toward legacy, the future, and being praised for what you've done. There is one comment that I think wraps up my thoughts on the episode pretty solidly, pretty excellently, so I'm going to read it to you and talk it through a little bit. This comes from Olive. TLDR, in silly terms, my metaphorical stink will forever be carried by the wind. We are remembered because actions materially affect the world, not just because an actual entity remembers. Being remembered really is a universal desire, but my idea of being remembered through my actions is slightly different from Kraft's. Lately, I've found comfort in the idea that the actions you take are a literal extension of you. Those actions can never be separated from the entity you are, and never undone. The deliberate decision to act forever changes the state of everything you've ever interacted with. To say your memory lives on through those actions means that even if no conscious entity is left to remember you, it is an undeniable fact that you existed. In this universe, what was you will echo forever. Bringing it back to Frieren, where I feel differently from Kraft is that I don't desire to be directly told I did good, specifically at the end. As long as I follow what I perceive to be moral and just, my attempt at being a good blob of a person will stay here forever. Being directly validated by someone is still important in daily life, though. Make your homies feel validated and accepted, folks. Share stuff like feelings or whatever you people have. I love this. I agree almost completely with just slight changes in perspective or angle. I like the idea that action is a literal extension of you. And I'd say that it's maybe the most accurate or direct extension of you. We often think of extensions of self as the physical elements of us, right? And when we turn our gaze inward, our magical ability to observe inward or toward ourselves, we come up with pretty interesting representations of what we're dealing with. One of the representations that stuck with me over a long period of time and just continues to be kind of compounded, I keep looking for ways where it doesn't work, and I keep finding more ways where it works, or ways where it's a helpful paradigm or a perspective, is to view the physical form as something along the lines of a Japanese mecha series Mecha. Inside me, there's this entity, and it's in control. And that is me. It's the conscious entity. We know it's up here in the gray matter somewhere, but it's also embodied. It's built into my whole nervous system that extends throughout my whole physical body. And this whole physical body is like a mecha. It's a shell. It's attached to me. It's physically attached. Like, I can't separate myself from it, with the exception maybe of lucid dreaming, and then you're sort of separate from it, but you're actually still inside it. And any evidence toward the contrary that you can be separated out from it or that your soul exists outside of your body doesn't exist yet. There just isn't any evidence for it. It's a nice idea and a cool one to think that the non-physical entity that controls the physical entity that seems to be you might exist. But the thing that your control entity can absolutely do is act. Is choose how to move yourself through space, choose how to move this part of your spatial representation to form words, or this part to draw things or write things down. And that act, and I love how you distinguish the act from the result of it. It's not the words that you said that mattered, it's the saying of them. It's not the drawing that you made that lives forever, it's the fact that you drew. It's the action itself. But actions are ephemeral, they stop existing. Yeah, but they cascade. My movement of an arm like this ceases to be that movement once I'm done moving it. It has stopped, it's done. But the effect of it, the ripples in the air, the literal butterfly effect of everything that I do does cascade onward. If you were, what's the demon called? Laplace's demon. Laplace's demon is an intellect that would be able to know all past and future events, knowing all the positions and velocities of all atoms in the universe. So like, a total observer that was capable of recognizing all of reality, right? All of physical reality. They would know, or be able to know, forever, that some entity did that at some point there in that path of the Earth as this tiny rock spun around our gigantic sphere of a sun. Does it matter? It depends on your definition of matter, and it depends on who you think that matters to. One thing that I think is really interesting is what you said about to say your memory lives on through those actions means that even if no conscious entity is left to remember you, it is an undeniable fact that you existed. And your side of, I don't desire to be directly told I did good. As long as I follow what I perceive to be moral and just, my attempt at being a good blob of a person will stay here forever. The cool thing is that you don't need an external observer, necessarily. It's very helpful to have because you're flawed and all blah, 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 and you can't see yourself because you're inside yourself and all these things. You don't really need an external observer, though, because you are an observer. And the one thing about yourself that you can observe pretty effectively is the effects of your actions. You can watch them cascade outward. You can watch them have ripple effects, and you can perceive some of what they actually do. And if you perceive that they're doing what you would consider good, you have the right to pat yourself on the back and be that observer to validate yourself. I like that part too. I do think that our actions ripple through reality forever. And I think that a real and valid, and as I said in the last episode, I think a really potent perspective on reality, one that I think can grant meaning, grant real purpose, in the sense that I think a lot of us agnostics or atheists might envy in our religious counterparts and peers. We might envy their sort of certainty and their sort of belief in a future and their sort of ability to believe in something transcendent or beyond them. I think that by pursuing actions that have bigger, better ripples, by making your actions and activities as permanent as you can or want to, and ensuring that they ripple out from you in effective ways. I think that pursuing those elements in order to push forward whatever good you have inside you, whatever good you are drawn to, whatever feels right in reality for you, is good. I think that's good, and I think it's a good way to live, and I think it can grant you purpose. So what does that mean? I'll get concrete with it. Yes, you moving your arm in an empty room has a ripple effect on reality, but not much. Likewise, you giving a speech to an empty room doesn't do much. But if you give a speech to a camera and record it and put it on the internet, that's a very different story. That shit might exist forever. That shit can be seen by other people. Those other people can be affected by it. Their actions might be altered by your actions. And that's where we get to an exponential level of potential. It's shocking. It is shocking how much one person can actually affect reality. You can start physical and in your real space, right? You can start with your family or your friends or your roommates or your neighbors or whoever's near you and just act slightly better toward them, like consciously, right? Or if that's hard to do because they're literal real people and that's fucking hard, and I understand, go on the internet and like find people, talk to them, be nice. communicate in an effective way. Don't play into the games, the war, the battle for trying to make sure that you look like you're the best and you're the smartest and whatever. Don't play into that. Just go somewhere to some forum and praise somebody for something that they did, or be that person who validates somebody else. The effects that might have on them and cascade from them that like might change their life in a way that their life starts to change other people's lives, because everybody's interconnected and everybody affects everybody else. The small changes that you could make have unimaginably large ripples. It's truly spectacular. I got a message just a few days ago from somebody thanking me deeply from the bottom of their heart for my videos, and telling me that they don't think that they would be where they are without them, that they're currently pursuing a bunch of really cool things in their life and looking toward getting their first book published and moving forward and pushing themselves in a direction that they didn't believe was possible a couple of years ago. My actions, if I believe them and I take them at their word, okay? And I'm not trying to do this to validate myself, although it's very validating to hear. I'm telling you this because, well, it's real, it's true. It's undeniably true, and this is not by any stretch of the imagination the first of these messages that I've received. Maybe 20, maybe 30 that are that aren't just like, "Hey man, love your videos," but are like, "Hey man, a couple years ago, I was extremely depressed and going through a really tough time as blank, 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 blank kept happening in my life. I felt like I was completely without direction. And I think that if I hadn't found something to do, I was going to spiral out and go somewhere dark. And I found your videos and I was wasting time watching them, and something about them clicked with me and made me realize that this show has this piece to it, and I wanted to pursue something really, and so I started doing it, and it changed the way that I operate in the world. And I've started going to the gym because you keep talking about fitness and stuff, and now I just ran my first 5K and it felt fucking terrible, but I feel great and I'm going to run a 10K next month, right? I get these messages, and these are messages from people who've been affected by a person. You know, I'm just a guy. I'm just some dude in a room talking to a camera, speaking about something that I find interesting, speaking about my passions, and just that action, just that honest attempt to interact and engage with media effectively, that's what I'm here to do, has worked on a bunch of people. And so I wonder, that guy who messaged me, who's writing his book, how many people are going to read his book and be changed by it? How many people is he going to interact with in a relatively positive manner because his life is in order in some way, right? How many people is he going to meet who are like uncertain about pursuing their own dreams, where he can say, "Hey, I understand your fear, but once upon a time I was where you are, and I decided to jump for it and to dive in because I knew that there was more for me in this life, and it changed everything for me." And how many of those people might have everything changed for them? It's an unknowable unknown. It's a question without an answer. But more than would have been if not, right? More than zero will be affected by that. So, and then each one of them, how many will be affected by them? Probably more than zero. Maybe their family, right? Maybe they'll be able to support themselves. Maybe they'll look at the world as though it's got potential for them. How much human suffering can be ameliorated by small actions like that? How much of the everyday malaise of the terror of existence can be disposed of by helping people find a purpose in the smallest of ways? I don't know, but I think it's really worth considering. I think it's really worth considering if it feels like there isn't meaning, or if it feels like in a world without something supernatural, without something judging us or choosing for us or whatever, without that, then maybe there's no purpose to any of it. Or if we're just going to die and end, right? If it's just a candle going out, then all there's left is going to be smoke, and all we're going to do is drain the oxygen out of the room as we burn. So we might as well go out as fast as we can and avoid causing any fires, right? I hate that. I hate that. I hate that lack of belief. And I think a lot of people do too. And I think that when you come up against it, it's very easy to spiral from there into, well, I guess nothing matters because nothing matters, right? But it's just dramatically not true. The actions and efforts of the people who lived 100 years ago echo now. If you look around the world and you see disgusting actions by human beings, if you see social and economic inequality, if you see injustice, then you can count on the fact that those did not result from nothing. Those resulted from the actions of our forebears. They had an impact, positive or negative. You will too. And the only thing that you do by choosing not to believe this, by choosing to believe that you're isolated or separate or an island of a man, and you're not, no man is an island, the only thing that you choose is inaction and a lack of control. You choose for your actions will still ripple. They will. Even your inaction will ripple. But the effect that it will have will not be a positive one. Almost guaranteed. Because positive things in this world don't happen without choice and conscious effort. This is a world ruled by one-directional flow. It flows in the direction of entropy. It goes toward chaos. And like, everything we are fights against that. In every cell of your body is a way to pass things on despite falling apart. So tap into the real core of what being alive is about and look to have a ripple effect. Not just for you, not just for your kids or your biology, but for humanity as a whole and for life as a whole. That's what it's about. It's what it is. So, yeah, pumped. Fucking pumped. So goddamn pumped about that shit. What a cool episode. What a cool episode and a cool chunk of discussion that we've had about it. Looking forward to getting more as the previous episode goes up on YouTube today and more comments rolled in. But when I saw that one, I just felt like I had to read it out because I think it just nails it. So there's a good chunk of blather here at the beginning. That's what we look for. We like to blather a little. And then we like to scribble a little. So blather done, scribble on. Did I at some point call Craft Stark? I think I might have called Craft Stark. Oops. Witness as we watch two elves in their natural habitat attempt to begin the long courtship of a mating dance. We watch as the male elf performs squats over and over, the repetitive action getting him ready, up and going to breed. Now, here comes the female elf. These are potentially the last two of their race, so this is a big one. If this doesn't work, we might be looking at extinction. So, it's up to the male elf to make some moves, make some stuff happen. He's making a move. He's being subtle, he's being straightforward, he's playing the game right. He's talking to her about what she cares about. He's asking her questions about herself, and she's wandering off. And she's wandered off, and she's gone into a room, and she's said, I think there's a grimoire in this chest, and now the chest is eating her. Okay. Alright, it looks like that's gonna be the last of the elves. Good job, elves. What fun. Alright, I'm ready to go for more Frieren. We're gonna watch episode 12, see how it goes. That's it. That's the whole plan. That's all I got. So, onward, outward, upward, and northward. Let's go through the frozen tundra. I guess it's not frozen anymore. We waited the winter, so we're moving on. I don't know to where. I don't know to what. But I'm ready to find out because Frieren continues to be amazing. Let's watch episode 12. 2 versions, picture-in-picture, in the description. Timer on YouTube. Beep beep timer to count you down. Early access on the Patreon. A beep beep timer to count you down. Let's go. I love that we're checking off those characters. It's fun. There are still a few to meet. Orange hair sword guy. Creepy elf. I need a hero. Holding out for a hero till the end of the night. He's gotta be strong, and he's gotta be tough, and he's gotta be larger than life. Sorry. She's... Alright, we got a magic carrier. Amazing. Hey! Princess Carrie. Nande? Yeah, okay. Alright, Fern. The distrust is a little... It's gone all the way around to being shade. What is this? Oh. Yeah. The reward is you being a hero. This is when they set off. Okay. So... Oh. That's... Is it a replica? Ah. Or does it become the hero's sword by using it as such? Oh, that guy. Damn. Haita. So they're old childhood friends, or enemies. That's cool. So he set off with a replica. I wonder if he will acquire the real hero's sword. Ah. Yeah, and a drunk. Such banter. Much fun. Very Seishun. Alright, time for you to walk. You got legs. Maybe we'll come across wherever the sword was and get that story. Maybe that's just a weird excerpt. Nope. Liar. Okay. I ship it. huh, huh. Nope. What? No faith. How horrible. Yeah, なんでだよ. Nani ga. What? Nani the fuck? That's so mean, Fern. How it feels to be male in 2024. Fuck. Too real. Oh my goodness. You've been waiting? What? Are you trying to be taller? Okay, this is the Village of the Sword. So they kept it here for a long time or something? Interesting. The Lord of the Mountains? That's like a Mushishi thing. This track is awesome. Oh, it's gone. Sword in the Stone style? Really? Really? So, when the real hero arrived. But we know the truth. We know what really happened, so I wonder. But is it true? We know someone who was actually there. I wonder if he ended up using the replica sword the whole time. That would actually be very poignant because it's not the sword that makes the soldier or the hero. It's the hero that makes the sword. Ah, you're late. You wouldn't have even been born. You wouldn't have existed. Okay, yeah. Because she died. Because she was waiting the whole time and she fucking died. Well. I wonder what her duty is. To return the sword? Oh! So you left them for 30 years? And that is a monster, okay. Get some sleep. Ooh, hi, buddy. Oh, that looked great. Oh, that looked great, too. Oh, boy. It's just not ever gonna stop, is it? Thank goodness. Yay! Omedetou! I'm the Lord of the Mountain. Rah. She's also the only person that we've seen so far. Hmm? I didn't get that. That must be the Sanctuary Cave place. Man, don't fuck around and get eaten by the Lord of the Mountain. Oh, there he is. What's up, big boy? You got too many eyes and stuff. Oh, they're gems. They're not eyes. What up? The piccolo choice is so good. It might be a flute, but it sounds like a piccolo. Damn. Down. Everybody's so fucking badass. Tiggity tag team. Alright, what's in the place? Is there a sword stuck in that stone? Oh, it is! It is, and it's rusty as shit! Why is the hero's sword still there? Yeah. Huh. Huh. Damn. Oh, hi. Grandmother was kind of cute. Hell yeah. This is what I was hoping for. This is what I was hoping for. That's way better. Way cooler. Fuck being chosen. Fuck being chosen. Take the action. It doesn't matter what you were gifted or given or the world said was yours. Hell yeah, he did. Did you ever try to take the sword? Frieren? Frieren, did you ever try to take the sword? Yeah, that's super embarrassing. So then, if that's a true prophecy, then the calamity that has threatened mankind has not happened yet, right? It was not the Demon King. If it's a true, come on, Stark, go try. You gotta go try. Come on, man. Come on, every little boy wants to go pull a sword from a stone. You gotta go try, my guy. Whoa, who was that? We've seen that guy. We saw that dude in the. We fucking saw that dude in the OP. Who was that? Is he the hero? I'll bet he is. We gotta go check the OP and see if he's using that sword. Oh, maybe she'll be as cute as her grandma at that point. At 55? 50, I guess it would be 62, probably. The appetit region. Is it bone? Is it bone here? Is there lots to eat? Do they have jumbo berry pies? Jumbo berry specials? For the big appetites? That's all you do. Oh! He's a grown-ass man now. Because she doesn't know or care. A grimoire? Something dumb. That was cool. Oh shit! What's in the box? There's a bunch of crap. What a set of faces. You gonna pour it on you? Can't return a spell though. The ring. We see it in the OP. What does it mean? It means too much. I wonder what that is. Are you gonna enter Stark's room? Without permission? Ooh. Yeah, totally blank, nothing here. Of course he did. Such a good boy. just running around being a superhero. Freaking Ricky Matsui out here. He's full Ricky Matsui! He's just running through the city saving kids, picking cats out of trees. Oh, he might. It depends on who it's used on. Hey, so are we gonna rescind that no romance thing? Maybe? Maybe? Feels like a maybe. Feels like we could. Timing. Timing, 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 timing. God damn it! Don't. He cares what you think. He realized and he restrained himself. Good job, bud. She's just almost gonna act that way towards you, man, because she likes you. Well, not because she likes you, but because she's trying to deny you before it ends up being anything. Oh, it's so cool. It's your birthday and I don't know what to get you. What do you want? Yeah! I fucking love it. I hate people who just get people fucking gifts without asking them shit. Oh, he doesn't even know. Oh. You've never been birthday presented. Yeah, maybe not. He doesn't understand. That's interesting. Ison's not really the type, is he? Yeah. They're dead. Ouch. Sparta? Kind of. Oh, he's Stoltz. We just learned his name. A chosen warrior, a pure white cape. The pride of the village. And your brother? Very Sparta. Are you holding it down, Stoltz, to protect your little brother? Yeah. Taking on all of the duty, burden, and responsibility himself. Ah, my cloak! Motherfucker! Well, never mind. I was gonna help you. Oh, okay. He's alright. This is a real human being. Alright, who's that voice? He's got that soft-spoken, good guy, bad guy. Yeah, I think your brother might have been different. Demo. Oh, shit. The demons came. So you don't know if he's okay? Well, I'll bet he's okay. Damn. You should really go back and see if you pull out the sword, man. Just to see. Might be for your brother. I think what he wants is the hero's fucking sword. How about that as a present? Oh, it does. No, not really. Nah, you figured out the shaking thing. You figured it out, man. You got it. Hell yeah. That was cute, Fern. A little bit awful, but a little bit cute. Hey. Oh. Why does he want a piece of jewelry anyway? Ooh, we got hands next to hands. That's almost lewd. You cook? Borgar! These are normal sized Borgars. This is how you celebrate? With Borgar cake? That's great. That's gotta be like 4 pounds of beef. 1 pound square of beef. Dude, it's probably 5 or 6 pounds of beef. That's crazy. Where do you even get the meat? How many cows did you kill? And make them strong. Different strokes for different folks, different traditions. It's his way of showing love. Aww. Oh, so he did get a birthday present. He did, he got a warrior present. He recognized you as a warrior, not just as his brother, too. Thanks, Stoltz. You know what's up. You know what's up, man. Not little kid with a plastic sword. Run. Is Stoltz alive? Probably not. Big steak on fire. Big Borgar on fire. Hell yeah. Oh, it tastes like home and brotherhood. And my family burning. Aw, she did it! No. I knew she was gonna ruin it. With Stark here. You don't want to know. Actually, you do want. You don't want to know. You don't even want to know. You really don't even want to know. It's not even. He doesn't even know. Is that the end of the? Ah! Okay, that was a perfect single, wasn't it? I was actually kind of hoping for a cliffhanger to make you do a double, but I'm gonna play these by ear, and that was a perfect single. There's a bunch that we got to talk about. Oh, there's so much left unsaid. That's a powerful thing about this show. Powerful thing about the way that things are paced and timed and stuff. You get this impression of stuff left unsaid. And it doesn't, it produces all the hints to make the story beat hit, right? Moving up to Stoltz, making the Hamburg steak for him. But it leaves it to us to click that together. Stark doesn't go, oh, my brother was giving me a birthday present. We have to figure that out. It's not much to figure out, but it's like, it still allows us to do that eureka moment thing. It's fucking cool. Fucking cool. Aversion to my own kind, I guess. Okay, that sounds like another piece of story, so as I said when the episode ended, I think this is a perfect single. as was the last one. So we're in a period of pretty perfect little singles. There's a bunch of interesting stuff here. So let's start with the OP, because there are a couple things that I want to check here. There are two elements that are in the OP, and they are the ring and Stoltz. There's the ring. It captures the two of them, so it's flying past us and spinning here. Cool. The hero's sword, and that's the hero's sword being pulled, right? That is the hero's sword being pulled by somebody wearing a cloak, and it's unclear who entirely, and meant to be unclear. Of course, it comes right after we see Heil, so it's like, maybe it was Heil, but it's not Heil. He never pulled the sword. So then, will anyone pull the sword, and does it matter? I don't know. Here we go, here we go. Okay, who is... Okay, that's Little Kid Stark with Eisen. Graf Granat, and his brother. Fine white cloak. There's nothing contextually interesting here at all. He's in a desert scene, which is not where he fought to the death, which to me makes me think that he is still alive, potentially. And then we might actually run into this guy later. But it's just this momentary vignette moment, so it's really hard to say. He is not wielding the hero's sword, so anything on that front doesn't really work. I'm not sure who that is sitting by this tree. Looks like a dwarf, but not Eisen. Because the helm has a different, like, it's got an eye shield on it. Interesting. Have not met. I wonder who that is. I never noticed that. We haven't seen a greatsword user like this. And who is he looking up at? Whose statues? Is that Frieren with a book? And Heil with the greatsword? I don't think so. That's not Himel's sword. Maybe that's himself? Like whoever that is, it's himself? But no, he's not an elf. I don't know. Interesting. Very interesting. Some questions that might not have answers for a while. There's plenty about this OP that makes more and more sense as we go. I really like the very up close scene and the reuse of it, where we have him make the gesture, and then we get like super close up, and he makes And her response is itchy. You fucking pervert! I'll carry her. God damn it, Fern! So mean, so mean. Got the wrong vibes. That's the hero's sword. No, it isn't. But you saved a merchant, and he gave you the sword telling you, for the future hero. Just something you'd say to a kid, right. For the future soldier, for the future cowboy, right? A little bit of banter that lets us know that he and Heiter are long-term friends. Old friends. So I'll prove him wrong by becoming a real one. Okay, question. What is a real hero? Is it the dude who pulls a sword from a stone that says, if you pull this sword from a stone, you are the real hero? Or is it a dude who takes heroic action? Are you chosen, or do you choose? Brings us right back to our discussion from the beginning, if you want it to. You know? What made that sword that way? What prophetic impetus makes that sword the thing that the hero shall pull? Some entity outside of you, some god, some deity, some person, the forger of the sword, what? Stories, narrative, something outside of you. That's all good and cool, but you can choose to be a hero straight up on your own. You don't need the blessing of something external to take the actions that will change the world. It's the person who goes and defeats the Demon King that is labeled hero, not the person who picks up the label. Going through life, I think, well, there's something else to it. I think a lot of people would fully believe themselves to be the hero, be dedicated to the thing, get to the hero's sword, pull it, find out that they can't pull it, and go home. Right? Well, if the sword says I'm not the hero, then I'm just destined to fail. Probably if I go and fight the Demon King, I'll lose. It won't happen because the sword said so. So you hit some boundary, and then the world tells you you're not allowed to XYZ because you didn't do ABC. You're not allowed to go to school. You didn't get a perfect GPA. You're not allowed to become a doctor. You're not smart enough. You're not allowed to, or how about that for one, okay? You're not allowed to help people. You're not smart enough to become a doctor. You don't have that innate something. You're not going to make it. Doesn't mean you can't help people. Doesn't mean you can't find another way. You don't need to be as smart. You don't need an MD to become a physical therapist and change people's lives. You don't need an MD to become any number of things, right? And change people's lives. This is real. That's real spice. That's real shit. We gatekeep ourselves based on symbols all the time. I don't have XYZ. I wasn't able to reach such and such boundary or threshold. I wasn't recognized by such and such organization, so I'll never make it. That thought never really seems to go through Heil's mind. I wish that we had a little bit more focus on how he felt not pulling the sword. We do get some moments, and we'll talk about those when we get there. Because his expression is really cool, and what he says about it is really cool. But I wonder if it hurt him more than he showed. I think it would. If you've put this narrative into yourself. Someday, my story beats go like this. I hit this beat, and then I hit this beat, and then I hit that beat, and then I hit that beat, and everything's going to be great. I think a lot of us write stories about ourselves like that have a future, and then when we get derailed at some point, the whole rest of the story falls apart. But Heil doesn't get derailed. He goes up until he hits a beat that he misses. You know, I'm going to go find the sword, and I'm going to pull it out of the stone. Rip. Didn't pull out. Derails the rest of the story. The rest of the plot can't happen. Wrong, says Heil. I'm the plot, motherfucker. Let's go. And he is. And he proves it. So, what made that prophecy in the first place? And, if it is a true prophecy, might be, does that mean that the calamity that will threaten reality has yet to happen, and therefore the hero that has been spoken of was not Heil in the first place? Or is it really just a piece of steel stuck in a piece of rock and never coming out? Nothing mystical or magical about it. Unknown. Unknown, but interesting. It's so many birds with very few stones. You feel me? That's a lot of birds with not a lot of stones. It sets up all this potential for the future. It expresses so much of the past. It teaches us so much about Heil and about ourselves. I felt like the music use in this episode was even more next level than previous episodes of Frieren. Kind of all throughout. I just felt like it was really spectacular, as were a lot of just holding scenes. Those quiet, simple moments that we just hold and let them breathe and have the in-between of the in-between the lines. Yeah. Can you walk? Definitely not. Absolutely not. So, you must be tired. Let me take this burden. No, pervert. Pervert, you just want your heads on a woman. She's really protective of her not girlfriend. Uh-huh. Oh, what a patootie! Deserving of head pats. Especially when we get here and she's like falling over because she's trying to stand on her dang tiptoes to try to look powerful and strong. So good. Oh, so cool. The place that used to protect the hero's sword. According to the legend, it will be pulled by the hero who will drive off the great calamity bent on destroying this world. My vibe is that it hasn't happened yet. And it was Mr. Heil? Yeah, totally. Nope. Hydra never mentioned it. Why? Because it's not true. Frieren runs on Frieren time. Just always late. Always late. monsters regularly appear because of the sword. We get a couple of cuts of doggos. I actually think that cut 2 of doggos is the best cut in the episode. Besides, there's some really cool character stuff. The facial expressions of Frieren and Heil earlier. The facial expressions between Fern and Stark, both here early when she's making fun of him and later when she walks up and he's looking at clouds, are really cool. First cut of doggos is fine. It's just Stark doing cool movement. Second cut of doggos, when they are trotting, I really wanted to see again because I thought this looked really good. And it does. Yeah, it's 3 different cycles from 3 different angles on these dogs. That's kind of dope, right? Middle dog, like they all move on the same ones, so they're not interspersed. That would have been the trick to making this look really fluid. Like really overly fluid would be to intersperse the cut, but we're not trying to make it look really fluid. We're trying to make it look galumphy. Galumph, 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 like a horse cantering, right? Or would it be a canter or trot? Trot. Horse trotting. Wait. Trot, canter. Okay, I gotta check. The one where the 2 legs come up at the same time. Trot. Tut, 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 tut. Lifting each diagonal pair of legs alternately. Canter. 3 beat between a trot and a gallop. Rat-a-tat, 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 rat-a-tat. And the gallop is a 4 beat variation of the same gait.
So what do I feel?
Whoa, it really is in between. It's like a switch from going diagonal to like galumph diagonal, and the outside pair goes together and then the diagonal goes, right?
I get pushed up when that diagonal pair.
What an interesting thing. Okay, so I do think that canter would be the right word. Although maybe it's a full gallop. They are sprinting. Regardless, they all hit on the same beats. Oh, no, they don't. They hit on alternate beats, but they all move on the same beats. Huh. Okay, it's a more clever scene than I even thought. I really like the way that these dogs look while they're running. I think it looks great. Love seeing our heroes go up against cannon fodder, right? Like minor enemies. It just demonstrates how far they've come in a lot of ways. It's a great way to make your party feel like they're very powerful. You know, once your characters hit level 3, level 5, you want to throw another squad of similar goblins at them so that they can just toast them and be like, whoa, we're so different from the way that we were. Pretty cool. Big drop down and ka-chunk, and he sees it here. Hey, wait, what the fuck? And that's when the big boy shows up. The big boy's pretty cool, but the actual fight with the big boy is kind of fine. Like, it's just so fast and easy, and most of the striking comes from big snow bursts. This is where it gets really cool, is watching them all work together in unison like a well-oiled machine. Fern is there and ready to defend. She knows what Frieren is going to do. Stark is there putting on the hurt with the axe, drawing fire. It's just perfection in terms of taking something down. And then there is the hero's sword. So, couple things. They didn't make the hero's sword out of stainless steel, did they? Guess they probably didn't have stainless steel. I guess it's probably carbon steel. It makes sense. It makes sense, right? Like a time period sort of thing. Knowing that you can put chromium and molybdenum into your iron to make it different, and then it won't rust as much depending on the chromium content is like, how would you know? You wouldn't. So interesting. In my mind, magic objects don't rust. That might not be true in the Frieren verse. It doesn't seem to be, but like magic objects don't decay. So it makes me wonder, is this sword actually imbued with any value or power at all? Or is it just a rusty hunk of junk stuck in a rock? It's pulling a lot of monsters to it. They keep coming here. So maybe there is something to it. Maybe it is real. But it raises some questions. A whole bunch. Not least of which is, why not Heil? Why not him? I thought he was him, right? Thought he was Heil the hero. Unclear. What is clear to me is that the hero who we know will become the actual hero, is not chosen by the object that chooses. I really like that. I like it a lot. That's not what I meant. He didn't pull it. So this wasn't the real hero either. We get this moment where he takes it in and we watch, and then he says, there's nothing wrong with being a fake hero. And actually, what's the difference? Which thing makes you the hero? Pulling the sword or defeating the Demon King? Number 2, defeating the Demon King. Who cares about the sword? And if the sword really mattered, then not being able to pull the sword would mean not being able to defeat the Demon King, right? Didn't matter. The sword's irrelevant. What other people think, what God thinks, what whoever made the sword and put it there and prophesied that it would be picked up by the hero thinks, doesn't fucking matter. You choose yourself. You choose yourself. There's nobody at the top of the tower. There's no chosen one for you to meet up there at the top of everything. You choose yourself. You choose yourself. Once I do it, once I'm real, once I prove it, it won't matter if I'm a fake or not. And he did live up to those words. A real hero. Why cover it? Well, doesn't fit the narrative, does it? Doesn't fit King Arthur, does it? Like, King Arthur boosts his authority by... Okay, what makes King Arthur narratively? Actually, it's the ability to forge the round table, to build an order of knights that are actually capable of communicating with each other, right? To be a good leader, to unite the tribes, the clans, the peoples of England, right? That's the story. But the story that we tell is King Arthur pulled a cool sword out of a rock and therefore became king, and all these other things happened because magic chose him. But which part's the magic? Was it the sword or was it the man? Or woman, depending on if you're a Fate fan. I don't know. Future generations always romanticize heroes, and he has done a lot to make sure that that's the case. A lot of statues with him holding the hero sword. Romanticize heroes to the point that their original nature eventually disappears. The truth lost to a fiction. And looking at the sword, he sees his brother. The meaning of a hero to him. That's what that is, isn't it? I don't know where I got the interpretation or idea that, like, maybe the sword's for his brother. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. But he looks at what that means, at that story that he just heard about real heroism, and he thinks of his brother, Stoltz. I want to know what Stoltz means. Proud. Interesting. That's really interesting, because that is not a word that I would use to describe him. To describe Stoltz himself. Proud people who give themselves to pride, they don't reach a hand down to help those that are struggling. But we don't choose our names. Our parents do. And we see that our parents were proud of Stoltz and not of Stark. Not of strength, but pride. So he was their pride. That's cool. Hella grateful. Don't be late. Oh, this is gorgeous. This freaking Depth of Field fade is fucking gorgeous. Look at that. Oh man, that's good. It's good spice, good stuff, good sauce. 18th birthday, gifts and presents. This little cut where she shoop, fibbity whoop, flippity floop. Also, feet freaks going nuts. Not my thing. There are some magic Frieren faces here. Her box of weird is amazing. I really wonder what all that stuff is. Just so much garbage. Feathered, so many kinky toys. Frieren. Where does that egg go? What is that feather duster for? Come on, Frieren. What is that drill dough? Come on, Frieren. Where does that pine cone go? What is that ring actually for? The whole box. She just carries a sex toy crate around with her. Ah! That's canon to me. And that's not even including all the things that she's put into hammer space, like her staff. Holy shit. Frieren is carrying around pounds and pounds of silicone. Holy shit. Oh, the faces are amazing. Ooh. And then the final one. I'm done. That's great. Pomp. What a waste. So she considers the ring and puts the dang ring back. Not a shot. But she does have a recipe for giant beef bourgar. It's hard to make a beef bourgar that big. It's really hard to get it to cook through without getting it like way too cooked on the outside and not as cooked on the inside. It's tough. You almost want to do it like a steak where you like reverse sear it, you know, where you like heat it up to warmish in an oven and then sear it on the sides to get those grill marks and stuff. It's just tough. It's a lot of meat. It's like not the ideal for cooking burgers. The ideal for cooking burgers is as thin as you can get it and make it multiple patties if you have to. I mean, unless you're going for like a really, really classy burger and you want like a really high quality beef and you want the flavor of the meat completely and you want it to be somewhere in that medium rare realm, which you don't want for a burger anyway because it doesn't taste that good. You want the fat to render out of it and you want it to... This is why smash burgers, literally smashing the burger on a hot griddle, it's the way to burger. We know these things. We understand burger. So she goes looking for any sign that he might be as evil as she suspects, might be a monster, and discovers instead that Stark is like the best model citizen ever. I made the joke that he is Ricky Matsui, who's a character from the Unsleeping City. That's 2 Unsleeping City references this episode. The first one is choosing yourself at the top of the Empire State Building, just letting you know. The second one is Ricky Matsui running down the street at like 60 miles an hour catching babies. It's just what he does. It's how he do. It's so cool. Oh, yes, find him? Yes, he was definitely helping everybody, being the coolest person around, and definitely not being a pervert. Nope, just kidding. He's totally a pervert. But she has this moment where she actually is kind of overwhelmed by the coolness of the Stark. Whoa. He's like, huh. He's like out here enjoying his time and kind of being kind of cute and hanging out and titties. Look, man, that's not his fault. It's not his fault that a G-cup cloud just happened to float by, Fern. And you shouldn't be jealous, by the by. You're well endowed yourself. No jealousy here. Goddamn, he's a perv. And then he's an idiot. Blah, blah, blah. Disgust and disdain. Why are you mad? And then we get to my favorite thing. This is my favorite thing. I just talked about this like yesterday in ReZero about giving people gifts without understanding what they want. I am a person who does not get joy or love from receiving gifts. It's not something that I'm like that interested in. But I do value receiving things. Like, things are cool, and there are things that I want that would materially improve my life that I'd rather not pay for right now. So, the move, in my opinion, always, is to ask people if there's anything that they're eyeing that they'd be really interested in, if they've got, like, a birthday or a Christmas coming up. And similarly, to drop in conversations, because people won't ever ask you this. Other people won't do this. You have to be pragmatic about it. You have to be proactive. To drop in conversations directly things that you're interested in. Like like about a month out from Christmas, being like, hey, I've been really looking at these things and deciding whether I want to buy one. I think if I were going to buy one, I would probably buy this one, but I don't know if I should afford it right now. And yeah, you're being sneaky and manipulative. And if somebody calls you on it, just be like, look, I'm trying to let you know that if you're trying to plan to get me a present or something, then maybe that would be a good idea, And then you ensure that they don't spend too much, because you don't ask for something stupidly expensive. Don't be like, oh, it'd be really cool if I got an Xbox. Yeah. What else? Dumb. But it could be very, very fucking useful to do stuff like that. Because the chances that you actually choose a gift for somebody based on your interpretation of their desires and it actually works, not great. The chance that they know that there's something in their life that they want, great. Like, excellent. And then they want it, excellent. And people argue against this. They'll say, yeah, but then the surprise of the gift giving goes away. How valuable is the surprise of gift giving? I don't think at all. I think not at all valuable. It's not at all valuable. It's like a terrifying bad experience. And then you have to look at the gift that you don't want and be like, oh, wow. Thank you so much for thinking of me. I don't understand how you thought this of me, but sure. It's so much better to be able to open the gift and be like, I wonder what this is. I got a feeling I know what you got me. And the other person's like, hey, I got a feeling you know what I got you. You're going to be happy about it. How cool is that? And you open and you're like, hey, that's the thing that I wanted. How cool is that? That's freaking great. Yay. Everybody's happy. You didn't spend too much. You didn't waste your time. I don't have to pretend that I like this gift. You gave me a thing that I asked for because I actually wanted it. It's great. It's freaking awesome. Now, if you do ask somebody what they want for their birthday or Christmas, maybe throw a threshold in there. Not to be a dick, but it's reasonable to be like, so are you looking at anything in the like $50 range? I'm not trying to spend $1,000 on you, I'm not trying to buy you a gold bracelet, No gift receiving. Rough. But really interesting. It's one of those things, you never know what somebody's circumstances are. They might fully not understand the traditions and expectations of a normal family or a normal life or a normal reality. It's not uncommon to run into somebody who grew up in poverty, who doesn't understand some of these things. Or similarly, to meet someone who grew up in poverty and has an extreme value on something like Christmas because it's the only time they ever got anything from anybody. Socks, right? Doesn't matter. It was like, oh shit, somebody thinks that it matters that I'm alive. Whoa. Worth figuring it out. Figuring out where someone is coming from before judging. They probably just didn't care about me that much. Absolutely brutal. No place there for the weak. An interesting thing for a man whose name is Strength. They are battered. They are battered. This father character has his eye gouged out too. Seems like this village destroys itself in the pursuit of perfection or, well, living up to his ideals and goals. They fought their heart out, right? You don't get battered like that and every one of them is bloodied a little bit. You don't get battered like that without fighting your heart out. But that's not what the warrior leader says. He says, you're pathetic. Be more like my son. Be more like Stoltz. He's perfect, uninjured, unblooded. The pride of the village, there it is. Of course, Dad. And then on the other side, Stark is a failure. He's like 5. He hasn't even faced down a monster. Stoltz gets it, though. Train my foolish younger brother. And in a moment that could turn dark immediately, I think we've all seen interactions in fiction or in reality where something like this, even if he was walking up there to help him, suddenly you stain my pride. But no. Moments later, he praises him for his focus, for not noticing him, then tries to teach him his stance. And Stark begins to realize that his brother was different. But all that is gone. All that is gone. I abandoned them. But that's not right, is it? I abandoned them? You were told to flee. You were told to. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised that my family never celebrated me. He's internalized all of this and he believes it about himself. No wonder he struggled sitting there with the dragon for so long. Stark really lacks self-esteem. For obvious reasons. A harsh father with extreme expectations, boosted by having a first son who seems to live up to them. If you're not immediately a genius, you're out. How about that? If you're not able to pull the sword from the stone and be perfect, then you can't be a hero. If you're not immediately a legend in our village, then you're nothing to me. Maybe that's what echoes in Stark. Maybe Heil's perseverance and unwillingness to listen when people or a sword or a prophecy tells him that he cannot become what he wants to become. Maybe that's what Stark sees there. It flashes right there. So maybe it's Heil's perseverance that shames him here, that makes him see that there might be another path. I bet Heil wouldn't have run. He would have moved forward even if he wasn't respected or loved. No response. Let's pick out a present. The past doesn't matter. The man I know has never run. And we see his low self-esteem bubble through. He can't even recognize the truth about himself. But maybe I will in the future. There's this fear in him. But you haven't. And we'll be there. You won't. We won't let you. But. And she just bowls past him. This one. Nope. No, that one. And this is romantic. Romantic. Very lewd. Very lewd. They're almost touching. Look at this. Look at this. Look at that. That's pornography. That's pornography. Chef Frieren I'm into. Big Borgar's very funny. But also very cool. There's really just no way. That's such a big burger. That's so much meat. Like, can you... That's a lot of expense. That's expensive. You gotta go kill the cow yourself. Everyone who works hard is a warrior. So he realizes that he was being recognized too. And in tasting that, he didn't abandon him. You didn't abandon him. He protected you. There's a great difference. Maybe one day you'll be able to protect somebody else. Maybe you already have. There's a village that owes itself to you now, isn't there? And there are at least 3 or 4 people in this village who owe something to you, who you've affected positively, maybe dramatically. So Heil's actions echo on past him, past the stories that we tell about him, to the real people who can really take something from it. And those people change their behavior in response to the revelation of Heil's behavior in the past. And so we bring it all back to our core beginning of the story, and that's where I got to pull something that popped up on my Discord this morning that I think is where we come to. Twitter post by Mango Moguda. An otaku who helped suppress a knife attack on the Taichung Metro in Taiwan said he helped because Heil would do the same. He hopes his heroic effort will defeat the negative stereotype of otaku. So, real person in real life made a heroic action and attributed his actions to a fictional character's actions in a fictional fucking anime kids show. Chinese cartoon. And yet it changed his life. Caused him to act in a way that was self-sacrificing and that may have saved other people's lives. How many people on that train do you think were affected by that person stopping the knife attacker? How much of that effect can be attributed to the author of Frieren? Unanswerable questions. Would that man have acted the same way despite having never seen Frieren? Maybe, but we can't know. Would he have been a hero if he hadn't pulled the sword from the stone? Maybe. But if he'd stopped, we'd never know. Stories have impact because they're tales about the actions of people. They tell us how people might act and what might happen to them as a result. They tell us things like, by sacrificing of yourself and pushing forward toward a goal, you might be rewarded greatly beyond your wildest dreams. That's the kind of thing that might get into somebody's head who's had a life like Stark's, where they're told that they're useless and worthless and a failure and they're not going anywhere. It might worm its way in there and go, yeah, but that story said that maybe if I go out there and if I find the right dragon, if I fight it, there's a princess out there and maybe some wealth and maybe a king who will recognize me and maybe I could be something and make something of myself. Because that story just feels more true than the lies I've been told my whole life. When we watch someone else accomplish something, it changes us. When somebody else does something and it affects us, it changes us. It changes our perspective toward what humans are capable of doing. And stories, fictional or not, are representations of possibilities. When we say like a story rings true, that's because it echoes into reality in some way. It feels like it's manifestable. It feels like if you were to take the actions taken in the story in a similar circumstance, they might result in a similar way. It rings true because you're like, yeah, standing up against somebody who's attacking other people and fighting them down is probably a really good thing to do and might be good for me and good for the people around me and worth doing. That's pretty interesting. It clicks. And in the same note, a lot of the time when stories don't ring true to us, it's because there's something in there that doesn't feel like it logically makes sense. We're highly attuned to this ability to sit around the campfire and listen to Jim Bob Bojob, who came back from a big hunt and tells us about where he went and the big monsters that he killed. And we're pretty well tuned to figuring out whether he's bullshitting or whether what he's telling us could be really useful in order to keep us alive in the future, because that's why we tell stories in the first place, is to learn from each other. So we're really good at taking a story or observations about somebody else's behavior and applying them to our own reality and determining just on the face of it whether we think that the pattern that they're using might be effective. And if it feels effective, we go, that was a good story. And if it feels ineffective, we go, that felt wrong to me. It doesn't feel like that was deserved. It doesn't feel like they earned that victory. It doesn't feel, something's wrong here. This is the stuff, man. What you do matters. What you say matters. And if you can say it in a way that's permanent, if you can do it in a way that has an impact on others, that has an effect, that lasts in some way, like the statues that Heil puts up everywhere, statues that probably many people have looked up to and gone, whoa, a hero. What does that mean? Could I be like that? The statues that Heil put up, or the grimoires that Flamme left behind, knowledge for the future, or the spell work that many of these mages do and pass on to each other and share, or the simple act of making a meal for somebody to show that you care about them. These behaviors, these actions ripple in reality, in physical reality, in space, and in unreality, in the fictional landscape of other people's minds, the place where they really are, not their mechas, not their flesh suits, but their real soul spirits. You can touch those. You can speak to them. You can, just by your actions and people being able to witness you and observe you, you can inspire them. I mean, Man, I don't like pulling from specific religious texts because I don't agree with their religion. But there's a lot of wisdom in the ancient writings of people writing books about how to be, which is what a lot of religious texts actually are. Matthew 5:14 through 16, you are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it gives light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. I dispense with the Father in heaven, because, I dispense with it within Christian theology. It's accurate to do so. God the Father, Son, Holy Spirit lives within you, not somewhere else. And that I believe. The divine spark is in us. And that's not arrogant to say. It's just the nature of the thing. We made gods in our own image because we are that spirit. You've got something to show the world. I don't know who you are watching this video. I don't know what you've got. I don't know what your passion is, what your thing is. I don't know if you've found it yet. Maybe you haven't. But you've got something to show the world, and they're never going to see it if you hide it. Under your bed, under your covers, in a bushel, in a room. I think the biggest thing that you can do is make yourself known. Show yourself to the world. Reveal yourself in your nakedness, in your shame, and in your reality, and discover that just by doing so, you will shed light upon a lot of people. They will be inspired just by that action from you. And that's not to say become a fucking influencer, but do think about what your influence might be. Not for you, not for your career or for your wallet or for your clout, for reality, for humanity, for life itself. The light of the world. Light your own candle. Keep burning. Don't hide it. Hey, made a metaphor about a candle earlier too. I was saying, in the context of nihilism, if you are just a candle that will be burned out and disappear and be left with nothing but smoke, then you've accomplished nothing. But for the time that you were burning, you cast light. I just straight foiled my own metaphor. That's amazing. That's amazing. Sometimes poetry is not intentional, but that was poetic. Get burning. Thanks for watching this episode of Frieren with me. I thought it was great. I thought it was another beady banger. Another slow one too. Maybe we'll change things up and pick up the pace as we move along. I don't know. See you next week for more to find out. Much love. Peace.